Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you today. We got the ETH merge information on that. David Schwartz, tribalism versus profits. John Deaton. We got Tom Emmer talking about a new day coming. XRP pre-allocation to banks. NDAs for XRP. The Holy Grail. Ladies and gentlemen, the Holy Grail. We have it for you. That, so much and more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok or YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. Right now, CoinPeprika says $1.079 trillion is where we are for the crypto market cap. Download that app. You know, very quickly, I want to show you my favorites list really quickly here. And just one of the cool features on this particular application with CoinPeprika, and I use it on my phone as well, and love it. Love, love, love it. I love working with them, but I love using it even more, and that's why I'm showing it to you, and it's why I'm working with them. Bitcoin right now, 21,500 plus. That's where we're at, right? Okay, but let's look at off the all-time high here. 68% off. Ethereum, 65%. XRP, 91% off. Listen, not financial advice, but what I can tell you is I'm sitting here looking at this and going, 1,689 days ago, I looked at the all-time high for XRP, and I was FOMOing hard what had happened too. I don't mind telling you. But I tell you this, it really makes me feel good to see that. 84% off for Cardano. Looking like a blue light special to me, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's looking like to me. Now let's get back to actual numbers for today. 21,500 plus right now. We see Ethereum 1,700 plus, and we see number 7 spot it slipped to. 33 cents is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. And if I just bring it back, just a regular price overview here, this is why I love this app so much. We can see in the 24 hours, Bitcoin off by more than 8%, Ethereum more than 8.5%, and we see XRP off by 10+% here, just in the last 24 hours. That is a really, really amazing number to see that. The markets are really suppressed right now, but let me tell you something. For the weekend, we have reduced investment minimums on all linked to investments to just $5,000 minimum, making it a great time for new investors to join and current members to diversify or even add to a current investment position. I want to hit you with this because look, Link2.com, private investing made simple. Look at all the amazing products they have on here. It's remarkable. Uphold, Vero, Adipar, Carbon. I mean, Zipline. I told you about that. Zipline partner with NASA. You know, who doesn't want to go to the moon with NASA and Zipline? Ripple right here. Think about a Ripple settlement, ladies and gentlemen. Think about, will you be able, if they announced a settlement tomorrow morning, how long before that private equity window slams shut? Don't mess around. Take advantage of it. And listen, if you're already an existing Link2 member or whether you're a new one looking to join, click this link or the one I have underneath the video. Don't play around. It ends Sunday night, Pacific time at midnight. Look right here, Cointelegraph, gas fees will not go down after the merge, according to a clarification issued by the Ethereum Foundation. So why are we doing it again? Oh, brother. Look, I hope it goes well for everybody holding Ethereum. And at times, I've held meaningful amounts of Ethereum. And at other times, like currently right now, I'm not holding a ton of it. But, you know, I know a lot of people are playing the angle of buying the ride up until the actual merge. And then they're probably going to dump right before the merge. See, you know, it's up to everybody. You got to make up your own mind what you do. I hope Ethereum is successful because I want to see all boats rise, but I'm not happy about ETHgate and how they actually got that clarity. David Schwartz, Chief Technical Officer of Ripple. Looky here, David Schwartz, it says here, is it taking Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin's dig on XRP likely? Which project are you supporting? Well, obviously I'm supporting Ripple. right? And then he says here, I hope people don't feel like they have to choose between cryptos. I'm a fan of what Ethereum is doing, particularly their transition away from proof of work to proof of stake. Now, listen, I am too. I hope it serves the network and all of the people involved in a better way, certainly for scalability issues. But for me, it isn't about choosing the sides as to which one's better. It's about how ETH got clarity over every other project. ETHgate is very real, decentralized justice. And right here is Ben Armstrong says, I'm glad ETH and XRP are fighting. It's really good for people in the crypto to see us all right all the time. Reflects very well. I say I'm not choosing tribalism or profits or one project versus another. I'm choosing to fight for a level playing field. There's no room for an opinion with the mountain of video evidence when it comes to ETHgate. It is very real. We need accountability to stop JP Morgan from monopolizing and centralizing crypto, let alone the Ethereum network. John Deaton lays it down here, and you can't do it any better than John Deaton. Shout out to you, John, for everything you're doing for over 70,000 XRP holders right now. The more I think about your shameful and disgusting comment, he's speaking to Vitalik Buterin, who said XRP already lost their right to protection when they tried to throw us under the bus as China controlled, in my opinion, Vitalik Buterin said. Well, you know what? Considering you haven't deleted or clarified it, says John Deaton, I realize you didn't misspeak. This is an immature, hateful comment directed at a community of innocent digital asset holders and not Ripple. Many people will not pay your comment much attention, but for those of us who've been exhaustingly fighting tribalism and believe in a multi-chain world of interoperability, your comments are truly demoralizing. And I have to agree with every bit of that. I do. It may sound, two-faced, but it isn't. I don't like how ETHgate happened because it was underhanded, back-channeled things that went on to give clarity to a project, to allow an assembly line of other token projects to be launched off the Ethereum network while no one else had clarity. And that exists to this day. John Deaton went on to say, if you would have said Ripple lost its right to protection, I wouldn't comment whether I agree with it or not. Ripple can defend itself. But even quite possibly Ripple's biggest critic, 2-bit idiot, no one has a better name than Ryan Selkis on Twitter, has recognized the SEC's overreach and has stated he hopes Ripple defeats the SEC. Even Ryan Selkis has gotten to that place. But maybe this is the protection that Vitalik Buterin meant when he said that we don't deserve protection. The SEC has done zero to bring accountability to the first ever ICO ETHgate. Listen here, what Vitalik Buterin explains to everyone in 38 seconds.
Developer community-driven privacy tech, Tornado Cash, send 0.1 ETH, get 0.1 ETH out to some other address. And this is really nice because, basically it's something that you can already use if you just want a bit of privacy, so you can send some ETH to a separate account for just to pay some transaction fees for non-financial applications, right? So if you want some separate account that you can use to interact with ENS or whatever, then you can just do that, and you can have some separate accounts, and you don't need everyone to see kind of the connection between all of your activity.
There you go. And that's how we had OFAC, the U.S. Treasury, the Office of Foreign Asset Control, go and arrest. And whether it's right or not, well, that's another conversation. Obviously we need clear regulation out here in this space, and that's how somebody gets arrested and becomes a poster child for such a thing. But, I think the governments and the agencies are really speaking to the idea that if it's going to be decentralized per se, you better have regulation built into your decentralized platform. That's what it's looking like in the place that we're headed. Now, the libertarian in me doesn't like it either, but let's look at this in a grown-up way here. Look here. This is a spot right here from Tony from Thinking Crypto. Great job, Tony. Listen to this clip really quickly here from Tom Emmer, who says he's excited for this new day that's coming. Check it out.
Talk a bit about the midterm elections. It looks like the Republicans are going to win. What does that mean for the oversight of the SEC?
Well, it's going to change dramatically. As I said earlier, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, even though crypto, to me, and the entire area of digital assets is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. I mean, I don't care if you're my colleague from California, Representative Khanna, who he and I, if you put us on a continuum of, here's the far right, here's the far left, he and I would not match up at all when it comes to our policy perspectives of what government should be and what it should be doing. When it comes to this issue, it's not about his political perspective or Tom Emmer's. It's something totally different. Now, that being said, the Democrats are currently in charge of Congress. They are the ones with the gavels and the subpoena authority, and they have not been holding bureaucrats like Gary Gensler accountable for his behavior. So I think what you will see, assuming that what we're seeing is accurate, that there will be a new day coming and that Republicans will take back control of the House and perhaps the Senate as well. You will see aggressive congressional oversight because that's only going to strengthen our system of government, right? Bureaucrats like Gary Gensler do not make the laws. Unelected bureaucrats, regulators don't get to politicize the rules of the road or hold the keys to opportunity. And assuming Republicans win the House in the midterms in November, we will then have the subpoena power, which will force the SEC and Gary Gensler to comply with the requests in our letters. And we've sent several of them already. But it will give us the tools to hold him accountable. A more aggressive oversight of our regulators will keep Biden's regulators in check to ensure they're working toward a stronger, better future for the United States. One that's actually filled with more opportunities for Americans, not fewer, which unfortunately, Tony, I think the behavior of Gary Gensler and some others, Rohit Chopra, I'm going to call him, and others, the guy at the FDIC, they've been limiting opportunities, especially in this fastest growing area, exciting area involving digital assets.
Well, look, I'm excited for a new day, too. Whoever can bring it, right or left, I don't care. But one thing he acknowledges that I want to highlight is exactly what we've said here on this channel many times, is that the left in Congress has given the room for Gary Gensler to run. They have done nothing to rein him in because he is pursuing their political agenda through that SEC agency, and that is really, really disturbing. Right here, we see the rest of the comment here from John Deaton, because I can't wait for it. The one thing is certain, people fear there is someone asking the right questions with subpoena power. Some dream of being a superhero with superpowers. He dreams of subpoena power. And I do too, John Deaton. I can't wait for you to get it. Let's dive into this for a second here. You know that we have a working theory here on XRP pre-allocation with central banks and other important financial entities because we understand to a great degree that if XRP is going to be successful, the liquidity and the utility needs to come from the same place. Now, there are some issues, and I think we're going to get a reminder from the Digital Pound Foundation in just 1 second about what that reminder is to all the governments and central banks around the world. But first, let's listen to this, because Fred Rispoli brought up a great point just a couple days ago. He said, anyone dive into the documents one receives when buying Ripple stock? I would think Ripple has some obligation to private investors to disclose whether 50-ish billion escrowed XRP is not an asset of Ripple allocated to other parties. There are legal ways to hide that, though. Listen to this very quick clip I did in 2019 with Bob Way and what he says when I ask him about the banks understanding the same scenario that existed back in the day with digital file sharing in the music industry. Only the music industry decided to thumb their nose at digital file sharing, and it absolutely decentralized and collapsed the music industry as we know it today. Can the banks afford to do the same thing? Take a quick listen.
I also think it's important to remember about escrow that there could be portions along the way here that are allocated for entities like banks who understand we're not going to be like the record company, put us on until we're going to get our blockchain together and all our this together and get their stuff in-house together, but it's waiting for them at a certain point as well. So is that a little too optimistic, or is that fair to say?
So let me expand on that a little bit, but that's generally fair to say. And that's
But it's generally fair to say. And there we have that, right? And listen, I spent 2 days with Bob back in 2019, and Bob is a brilliant man. And one of his greatest traits, beyond being a genius and very brilliant, is his ability to explain it to someone as dumb as I am. And we spent many hours together over the couple days, and I'm really still to this day very grateful for Bob taking the time to do so. It helped me immensely. But to Fred Rispoli's point about being able to try to prove or disprove this, because isn't that the most important thing? I share all of this stuff so we can, listen, if you're hearing my voice, you're a speculator in this space, just like in the early gold rush days. I'm a speculator, you're a speculator. Some have a thicker stomach for it than others, but the reality is we're all taking a chance. I believe the things that I have heard come from Ripple, and you're going to hear from Brad Garlinghouse in just a moment as well. But to the point that Fred was asking, which is a great point, because if we can determine whether the escrow has been allocated or not, as we have discussed the theory here, then we can dismiss or disprove it and then move on to the next thing. But yet we can't. I shared this with Fred, and then I said, Fred, we do know that R3 had an options contract, pre-allocated XRP back in the day, but they didn't live up to their end of the deal. How that was expressed versus escrow numbers, I couldn't say, but I'd love to know. Been very open about the fact that this is a theory. Be very weary of people out here who try to play referee and school teacher and try to tell us what we are and are not allowed to think out here. Those people are dangerous. And I want to show you some information before you get out of here today that's going to prove why it's dangerous to eliminate that idea. Right here, R3 settles billion-dollar blockchain dispute, and I'm just very quickly going to show you this because it confirms that, in fact, there was an option gave to R3 to buy 5 billion XRP at 8 thousandths of a penny. So it's not a question about whether pre-allocation exists. It's a fact, Jack, right? Now let's come back to this, because how do we determine whether other amounts of XRP have been really pre-allocated to entities? And what do we know about the actual details of that if there are, which I'm sure that there are, at least in my mind. Anders L. said it was revealed by the SEC lawsuit filing suit R3 bought 1.4 billion XRP from the options contract. Exactly. And then reminding Fred of that, he says, that's right. Remember, Fred's a lawyer now. Thanks for the reminders to me and Anderson. He says Ripple could get around directly answering whether escrowed XRP has been allocated by using options contracts and other entities. The escrow would legally be Ripple's until the option is exercised. Exactly. Exactly. And then there's this. They couldn't tell us even if they wanted to. There's non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and confidentiality agreements. We are retail investors. A lot of us are speculating. I use it for use case too. I use it to send money and value to other exchanges so I can buy altcoins, but I also speculate on the asset as well. Take a listen to hear what Miguel Villas said in this clip.
We end up putting XRP in different hands, right? So it starts to proliferate a little bit inside of the ecosystem so that people then have a vested interest in making it work, right? So you start to tie those incentives together. We want to be more transparent with what we're doing with the XRP in terms of institutional buyers, if we sell any, if we buy any, I want to start to give the market that clarity. There are some things that I can't do, right? I can't give names to people like that, we've transacted XRP with, because that's not, there's NDAs and there's confidentiality agreements. So there are limits to how much we can say in terms of institutional buyers, if we sell any, if we buy any.
If we sell any, if we buy any, institutional buyers, there's your answer right there.
There are some things that I can't do, right? I can't give names to people like that, we've transacted XRP with, because that's not, there's NDAs and there's confidentiality agreements. If we partner with folks and there's a payment involved, it happens through XRP. In terms of institutional buyers, if we sell any, if we buy any, I want to start to give the market that clarity. There are some things that I can't do, right? I can't give names to people like that, we've transacted XRP with, because that's not, there's NDAs and there's confidentiality agreements. So there are limits to how much we can say And maybe banks get to a point where they're comfortable dealing at digital asset exchanges because these, like Bitstamp, for instance, is fully regulated and they have banking relationships, and definitely the worlds are coming together. So I think we'll get to a point where, banks, no problem, will connect, to Coinbase or Kraken or Bitso or, whoever it is, and source liquidity that way. Or, the other alternative could be that as this space grows and as liquidity for XRP grows and we get closer to that goal of institutional standard, places like a Bloomberg Tradebook or an FX All or a Reuters Direct, they start to list digital assets. Now, these are very traditional capital markets FX liquidity pools. If we get to that point, then it becomes very easy for a bank to run a payment through the ledger, right? But really, it's all liquidity dependent.
All liquidity dependent, which really means you need fiat to feed the system, right? You need to have fiat to the asset feed the system because that's where the liquidity comes from. And what did James Wallace tell us from the head of central bank engagement now to launch CBDCs on the private ledger? He told us that the native currency is not XRP, it's CBDCs. And you know what? That's government money. That's what fiat is. It's digital government money, whether it be wholesale or retail facing. And the reality of that is that's the kind of liquidity I believe Miguel's talking about in this clip.
Which is really what you're solving for with respect to the cross-border payment with XRP. So I guess a long-winded way of saying, I'm not sure we'll ever get rid of all of it and sort of let it all out into the wild, partly because there is some utility for us or maybe some other, organization having it to make sure that the markets are always liquid. Here, and I don't necessarily know that we'll ever distribute all of it. In my mind's eye, there's a possibility where, we end up more of a lending kind of, more of a lender of last resort capacity, maybe. I think that would be a little strange for a software company. And
I do too, Miguel.
Maybe some things would have to change structurally. Maybe we have to have a different organization or something. Who knows, right? Because I've always believed from the minute I read the consensus, the white paper on the consensus mechanism for XRP, I believed it had the capability of changing the world.
It has the capability of changing the world. I believe that too. I absolutely believe that too. And when we look at the Digital Pound Foundation, for which Ripple is on, they recently put out a paper outlining 4 key motivations for introducing the digital euro and the CBDCs. And it still comes down to exactly what we talk about on this channel here. The paper proceeds to review the potential implications for 2 key themes of interest on central bank community, namely monetary policy and financial stability. We argue that public digital money in the form of a CBDC could replace banknotes as the monetary anchor of today's 2-layer monetary system and help retain monetary sovereignty. If global stable coins became widely used. It comes down to the Holy Grail. First, get banks on RippleNet to settle with fiat. Then get them to source liquidity using XRP. Then get them to hold XRP directly. The Holy Grail that was said a few years ago by none other than Dilip Rao himself. And then there's Brad Garlinghouse all the way back in the day explaining there is certainly a marathon going on here and there's a long way to go. 2015, 2017 timeframe, whatever this is, 2015. We're incredibly proud to say Bank of England and Central Bank of Saudi Arabia are customers of Ripple. And effectively, XRP is a global reserve currency according to the creators of it.
I said earlier that this is certainly the beginning of a marathon. I'm incredibly pleased that we've passed the starting line, but we have many miles to go. The 2 products that Ripple has been in market with the longest are called X-Current and X-Rapid. X-Current is a solution that allows banks from a point-to-point basis to settle transactions in real time.
Instead of transactions that today go through a series of hops in the correspondent banking system that can take days to complete and the cost is significant, we're able to complete a transaction in seconds between two regulated financial institutions. So first I'll explain, there is Ripple, the company, and Ripple sells technologies, Ripple sells solutions to banks and financial institutions around the world. And there's XRP, a digital asset that we use as part of that system, but we do not control XRP. As evidence of some of the work Ripple has been doing with regulators, policymakers, and governments around the world, we're incredibly proud to say that the Bank of England, the Central Bank of England, is a customer of Ripple's. We're proud to be able to say that Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, the Central Bank of Saudi Arabia, is a customer of Ripple's.
But I'm sure they have no interest in holding XRP, which could actually transform the world, according to Miguel Villas. It'd be stupid for them to want to hold any position, be it an option, a contract or not, on the asset that could potentially change the world moving value.
We're going to continue to work with central banks, with policymakers globally, to make sure there is thoughtful regulation as this entire industry matures.
Do you think that the existing issued 100 billion XRPs will be enough to cover once the XRapid service scales to a global full scale, or would there be a shortage?
Well, so when XRP was created, this actually was created before Ripple existed. The creators of XRP decided there'd be 100 billion units because they saw it as rather than having a smaller number with a very high price, they saw it as something they wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency.
A global reserve currency. Now that's Brad Garlinghouse. So what are the people out here, the polite cancel culture versus the troll cancel culture? What are they going to do? Is Brad not allowed to say that anymore? I think we all realize that XRP has to prove itself as a payment currency, which it is currently doing now. We're talking about the ultimate destination of where XRP is to go. That's what we're really talking about here. But we got to remember this.
Things that I can't do, right? I can't give names to people like that, we've transacted XRP with, because that's not, there's NDAs and there's confidentiality agreements.
There sure are, isn't it, Miguel? And the reality is take a look at this from Mr. Intuitive. Because while others out here try to control what we can talk about and what we can't, ask yourself the question that Mr. I is asking right here. Does this guy look nervous to you? Does he? Because he doesn't look nervous to me, I can tell you that. This guy looks like a confident man who knows exactly where we're going, and we're on the path to get there. And I'm not nervous either, I can tell you that. And they can make as many videos as they want. I'm here till the plane lands. Ain't no doubt about it. And everybody's got a right to think what they want to think. And don't you for a second, no matter how they try to act polite about it or not, let me tell you this. Nobody out here gets to tell us what we can think. We're allowed to think whatever we want, and so are they. And the truth be told, when you allow that to happen, that's when we can get the best from one another. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. I'll catch you on the next one.